from Memphis, California. I'm sorry, now you go from Memphis, Tennessee to Southern California. What is that transition like? Frank on the building, let's go. Hey man, let's get back to the small hold it down. Yeah, that's what we know. Yeah. Wherever you at. Hey, this is just some more of it. This is your host, John J. Studio Talk. Hey, man, we switching it up again. It's a new set. It's a new season. We having tons of new guests. This time, we got a woman in the house. Woman power, you know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, talk to the people. Who are you?
Hi, y'all. My name is Yesenia Moya. I'm a local educator, organizer, and artist. I'm out here doing work for the people.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man. We really motivating others every day, manifesting our economics, and doing it with a money over everything mindset, man. I love this girl. I love what she got going on. She really inspires other women to just be better at being them. And then that's something that money can't buy. So this is actually my boy's wife, and I actually know her on some personal stuff through family, and then we gonna get into that a little later. So where you from originally?
Well, I'm from Chihuahua. First of all, thank you, because I hella appreciate you.
Man, it's all love, man. We got to motivate others' excellence.
No, that's it. Just hearing that one phrase out of, all the different genres that I've heard you say it, it just, that's part of the work that I do. So, everybody got a little to pitch in. But I'm from Chihuahua, so, I'm not from here. I'm from Mexico.
Yeah, man, I actually got a friend named Luis from Chihuahua. He works with me on Good Brothers Handyman Services, and I've known him for 10 years. Great guy, man, hard worker. Hard worker, but it's crazy. He's a hard worker out here, but he said he lived on a farm out there.
Yeah, look, a lot of our people do.
Okay.
But it's not just all that. So from where I'm from a little small mining town in Chihuahua.
So you're from a mining town?
Yeah, I'm from a little tiny town. There were 200 people there. I was born in a hospital with 2 rooms, 1 surgery room, 1 recovery room.
That's small?
That's small. That's the kind, when I went back to get my birth certificate, we had to go into a little room and they took out the typewriter, and this was in the early 2000s.
And they built it up. They still use the typewriter, just 2000.
That was in the 90s, early 2000s. So it's that's kind of where I'm from. I think talking about kind of stereotypes that people got about Latinos or people, Mexican people in general. That's kind of why I do this work, because a lot of people see us and only have 1 or 2 lenses to go off of, right?
Yeah, man, we gotta, man, it's 2024. We gotta get away from the stereotypes, get away from what we think, and go and judge people on who they are and what they do. And that's just that.
That's period. That's literally why I do this, right? Because for my whole life, I saw my parents helping other people, other undocumented people, right? They'd come in. We don't have access to we can't go to an organization. We can't go to the government for help. We can't go to food pantries. So we help.
But they're building the country on the backs of your labor.
Period. That's
unfortunately, people don't want to say it, but a lot of Hispanics do the work that other people don't want to do.
What do we see in Florida? What do we see in Texas? This is part of the work that I do too is policy. Yeah. So thinking about just laws that they tried to pass over a decade ago in Arizona, now we're seeing them come through nationwide. Yes. So this is a systemic problem that's going back hella long. Absolutely. And as me and my family were struggling, right? People were getting incarcerated around me, getting deported, getting put in detention. We never know where they come back. People were getting lost in the desert. Those are
people are literally disappearing. Yeah. That's somebody's brother. That's somebody's uncle. That's somebody's son.
My uncle, my cousins. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There are people that have never, we call them desaparecidos, and we say presente every time.
Say that one more time.
Name. Desaparecidos, the disappeared.
The disappeared people.
Yeah, because we don't know
what happened to them.
Yeah, we don't, and it's important for us to be able to tell our stories.
Absolutely.
For the longest time, other people have been telling them for us. And in my artwork, through my poetry, I try to reclaim the shit that we lost.
So that's how you talk to the world. That's how you try to get out your cry for help. Through the music.
Yeah, so
or through the poetry, I'm sorry.
And here's the thing, it's funny you say music, because I'm a singer, and that's how I connected with my family. My whole family, they've all been able to like do caravanas, which are like caravans, musical caravans.
Okay.
And like this was back in the 30s and the 20s, right, in Mexico. And to carry that was kind of like a tradition. So for me to be like the singer in the family, nobody wants to go to do karaoke with me, and I'm pissed.
Yeah.
But like you know, shout out to my dad, because so that's how I could feel.
Let me ask you that. How was your dad? How was it coming up? So so when did you come? I'm sorry, you're from Chihuahua. When did you come to the United States?
Early 90s. I was around 3 years old.
So you came here when you were 3 years old?
Yeah, I was a baby.
So were you old enough to understand the difference between being there and being here?
I didn't at first, and I think it was up until we had to move. We moved to Nebraska. So and between living here in Phoenix and Nebraska, I think the shift really came in when I couldn't speak Spanish anymore. Like my parents were very adamant.
You had that disconnect.
Yeah, like I didn't understand what the teachers were saying. I was getting taken out of class to go to the special ed classes because they didn't have English for Spanish speakers, or what people call ESL, or any of that. And so it was very. I had to learn it on my own. Yeah. That I went to third grade.
So who taught you proper English?
Myself.
The streets, huh? She being in the world, life.
I think I wasn't accepted very much with the other kids, so all I had was reading my imagination and music. So when I got older, I started listening to Chicano rap. My very first one was like Aquid. And then please don't hurt me, but my first rap album was an Eminem album.
Eminem was your first rap album?
Yeah, I can't like.
So how old were you at that age?
I was 13.
You're 13, and the first time you ever heard rap
White America, like
was Eminem.
Yeah, Eminem, and he was cussing out White America. Oh, he was saying like, "Hey, I look like you." Yeah, it was like he's like, "Hey, you look like me," and like, fuck all of you. And it was just it was like, damn, like I've been trying to
say. So even as a child, you already had that activist just earning in you.
Oh yeah,
fighting for your people,
never did
fighting for your rights.
Like
you had that as a child.
Trouble. Yeah, I always got in trouble. Look, I learned that I didn't have to do that doing the Pledge of Allegiance wasn't a law. Yeah. So whenever the teachers would tell me, "Hey, get up,"
you already telling me your rights.
I'm like, I don't have to do
that by law.
I'm not a citizen, so I don't have to. I'm not from this country. And it was just very militant, but that's how I was able to at least cope with like the marginalization. Because that's how nobody liked me.
Sometimes you smile through the pain.
That's it.
That's how y'all gonna treat me. This is what it is.
A little rough around the edges. If you don't like me, guess what? I like me. I'm Mexican. You're not. You don't know what it's like, and screw you. So that was my attitude.
So now you're in middle school. You speaking English. What's life like?
I think it was at that point like trying to transition between being a child, like very protective from my parents, and then at that moment I was translating everything for them. We had a business going.
So now you went from you learning English to now reversing the cycle, and now you have to teach your parents English.
Yep.
This is your life as a child.
Yep. Everybody around me saw I was doing.
So everybody, all the adults in your life speak Spanish, and you're teaching them English.
Yep. And like not to take anything away from them, because if you imagine going to another country, not knowing anything, starting from the bottom, not knowing the language, the culture, or anybody, like it takes some freaking balls.
Hell yeah.
It takes some balls.
Absolutely. But I'm saying that's a lot of, for you to go through that. That's like the rose growing through the concrete.
Yeah, it's
like you went from learning yourself to now you teaching your parents, and they getting legal businesses and legal jobs, and really you not knowing it, but you putting the family on your back, because if they can't speak English, people could cheat them with the money. They don't get the right stuff. So the family's really on you as a child.
And I think
whether you know it or not.
Yeah, like I was told, like, when you're growing up Mexican and you're the oldest, you're told like, once you get a job and you get this, and you're gonna take care of everybody else. Yes. It's
so that's embedded in you as you.
Like I just knew, like it was just my dad. My dad would sit down with me and tell me, "Hey, if anything ever happens to me, it's not like you gotta take care of your mom. You gotta take care of your sister. You gotta take care of the family." And I was little, but I'm only a year and a month older than my middle sister.
So now you get to high school. What's high school like for you?
I was starting to get some friends, but it was mainly like my Cholito friends. Shout out to the East Siders in Nebraska.
I like she said to my Cholo homie, to my homegirls.
They kept me. They
embraced
safe,
you.
You know, like my girls they kept me safe, and they embraced me, and they're just the folks that like took me in.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nah, I think one of my best memories was like
it ended up being your sister, your sisterhood.
That's it. Yeah, and they all like at my quinceañera, I had a room for all my homitas. Like we all were like reggaeton. It was all reggaeton. It was all, and at that moment, you know, reggaeton was just starting. So everybody was like, beautiful. Oh man. So all the youth in one place, all the adults in another place, and it was just like, it was just nice. So I had like a lot of community that we had at that moment. But you know, shit don't last that long because that like Bush and these motherfuckers, like the policy, you know, like it's as one is starting to build shit, like we know that stuff is being thrown against us.
Hey man,
systemically.
Hey, that's why we motivate others around us. You know what I'm saying? That's why we invest in our own so we can uplift each other.
Yep, it's why I do this work. Like I'm in a place now with organizing where I'm just giving other people resources.
Hey, and that's what we're here to talk about, them resources. So let's keep it going though. So now you're in high school and you're teaching your parents all this. Do you graduate high school?
I did, but it took everything. My dad was deported when I was a junior in high school.
You're a junior in high school and your dad gets sent back to Mexico.
Then my mom gets deported.
Oh my God!
And I ended up being here by myself. I was homeless for a couple months up until I graduated. And
so hold on. You're a teenager. You have no father. You have no mother. You're a woman, and you're still going to school while you're homeless.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
It's you know, that's all I learned. That's all I knew. Like you just had to keep going. There was just something in me that said, like you hustle and you get somewhere. If you don't hustle, you don't eat. Like that's growing up. That's it. Yeah.
So you go from being homeless to graduating. Once you graduate, how does that feel?
It was a win, but I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what came next. I mean, I was a kid, right? But I had put a lot of pressure on myself that graduating high school would mean that I could get my family out of you know our financial issues or just everything. But you know, as kids, we don't know how to deal with trauma, and so we try to figure out the best that we can.
Yeah.
And I thought me working and me trying to get everybody into a better financial position was gonna be enough.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't, because I ended up with an abusive person.
Yeah.
That I'm no longer with.
Thank God.
Yeah.
One door closes, another one opens.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 9 times out of 10, it's a better door.
You know, it was lessons that some people learn, and
no losses, only lessons.
You know, that's it.
No losses, only lessons.
You gotta turn everything. It was just
a lesson for you.
Yeah, like if they fucking throw charcoal at me, I'm gonna light a fucking fire with it.
That part. So now you 18, your parents are still gone. What makes you want to get into? Man, you're an activist, whether you know it or not.
I think
you're definitely motivation for not only Chicano women, but women. Period.
I appreciate that. I think I have a hard time with that word because
Chicano women.
No, activists. Only because I'm not here to activate people.
Yeah.
I'm here to organize with people. Like there's something about being in leadership, like in community.
So hold on. Man, my apologies. Break it down for me. Tell me the difference between activism and organizing.
Yeah, I think for me, and this is the way that I take it, but really activating people, and not to say you're centering yourself, but there's in essence this individuality.
Yeah.
And in organizing, it's more of a together. Like we do this together.
You just whatever we doing, you just want everybody to do it together.
Yeah, that's it. We all have a lane. I've been blessed to be brought into different communities and different spaces from the work that I do with Masturbation Project Nevada and helping folks with Black liberation to work that I do at Arriba Las Vegas Workers Center and immigrant rights. It's all interconnected. So when I tell people me going out to say free Palestine does not take away from the work that I want to do anywhere else.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. On a personal note, you did some work with my auntie. She passed away. What was that?
Ashe to Yaya. I think I met her right outside the legislative building. We were going up for lobby day. And the very first, she was out there cussing up a storm about the legislature.
That sounds like her.
And I'm like, this is my girl. I'm like, I go up to her and I was like, please tell me. I was like, I need to know who you are. Yeah. Okay, because I was like, you feel me. She was like, I see you. And I was like, exactly what you just said is what we've been trying to tell these fools, and they don't let us. Yeah. Like, you have to be a certain kind of respectable and whitewashed to be in those spaces. And then by that time, you're just a bootlicker and a yes person. Yeah. So there's not a lot of people that look like us in these spaces or talk like this. Like, they don't, they're not
Latinos, they're not blacks,
no.
They're not young.
And if they are, they're not from the hood.
Absolutely.
Like, let's just be honest, they're not from where we're from. Yeah. And that doesn't negate that they've struggled to get where they're at, or they worked hard. Like, that's not to say that, but there's a certain kind of, like, resilience that comes from people that have to grind it out every day. Yeah, every single day, it's trying to figure it out. There's nobody that I trust more than my homies on the street, because I know that they'll figure something out fucking hella quick.
Yeah, somebody you starved with. Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. So, what's this right here? Talk to us.
So this is Mojada Inc. That's my brand, and we really try to elevate the stories that people don't want to hear. We don't get to tell our stories. Yeah. A lot of people tell our stories for us because we've been colonized and we've been indoctrinated to believe the stories that we're told and fed in the history books. Like, we need to recognize that there's something in us that we got to remember. Yeah. So reclaiming our indigenous ancestry, regardless wherever part of the world that is extremely important to our healing. And not just to our healing, but to organizing in general. So Mojada Inc. is a way for me to reclaim my power. 2016, Donald Trump was campaigning to win, presidency. Yeah. That full wins, and
he does win.
Yeah, and I recognize that every single that half of the people around me believe that Mexicans are rapists and we're drug dealers and we're cartel, and like
she's like, we human, we're regular people,
without criminalizing that shit, because I'm not here to look down on my people that have to work with like that's not what this is about. Yeah. But I'm saying that shit because every single time that I have grown up, it's either you're a cholo, you're a gangbanger, or you work in construction, or you work as a domestic worker. Like, those are the stereotypes. Yeah. And so through Mojada Inc., I break those stereotypes and I help people tell their stories.
What about when you were, I don't know if you were involved in it, but my auntie was doing stuff where she was helping mothers and women that were incarcerated.
Yes.
What about that?
Everything from legislation to trying to just support them on the inside. I mean, our folks, there's not a more knowledgeable person on abolition than our people inside, because they're doing it without the state. They're not working with the COs. They're not working with the people that have them incarcerated.
They're getting the information on their own through the books.
Mm-hmm, and they're working it together. Like, if there's anybody that knows how to organize, is our people on the inside. Absolutely. And so what she was doing was really reaching out to folks saying, hey, I got these resources. What do you need? Like, what can I bring to you? What is tangible? And I love her so much, because there's not a lot of people that are willing to just sit there and just, sitting there at her service was beautiful, because she would have loved that. Yeah. She would have loved it. She would have fucked with it the whole way, because that's who she was. What I loved about her is that she could hold nuance and complexity. She understood that nothing was just black and white. Exactly.
If you knew her, that was Sassy Low. And they called her that for a reason. When she came to the Lord, it changed her. Yeah. And I think, I don't want to say it changed her, but I think because I didn't know her before then, but I think it added on to her character. Absolutely.
Because hearing the stories from people in her youth, she was always protecting people. Yes, she was always looking out for people, being the leader, trying to keep people safe. Like, that's still what she was doing, regardless, in a different space. And what I want people to understand is, like, you don't have to leave your people behind to get better. Yeah. Because I think too many people leave the hood and forget about their people.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I get emotional about it.
Bring them up.
It pisses me off.
Don't leave them down. Bring them up. Uplift them. Pull them up. If you at the top, go down. Reach up.
Yes. Go back. Go back. Go back. Like, that's why Mojada Inc. is so important, because part of this is me telling my story to break through the noise. Like, a lot of people see me and they already come at me with their own conclusions, whatever they think about me. And when I break through those stereotypes, I see it in their brain trying to check off boxes, and I don't click any of them. Yeah. And it makes them uncomfortable. And I hope that people can just sit with that uncomfortability, because it takes a lot to, like, for us to recognize our own shit, which is why I do, like, work with Black folks.
You're a very powerful woman. Where do you get all that from with still having to live life, still having to pay bills? How do you, where do you get your inspiration from?
Honestly, from my family, from my loved ones, like my partner. Like, I listen to people. I listen to their stories, and I hear them, and I can empathize. If I haven't been through the same shit, I can guarantee you that, like, I'm gonna sit there and be like, okay, I don't understand, and I don't know how it felt, but I'm here for you, because fuck that shit. And it really comes from the people around me that love me, that see me as a person, that don't hold me to one. Because, like I said, I'm an organizer, educator, artist. I do a lot of different things. You know, I'm a healer in so many different ways, and I just
mind, body, spirit.
Yeah, it always comes from outside of me. Like, there's this higher purpose that has always said, like, you gotta help people. And I hate using that word help, because, again, it's like, I'm not here to save people. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about us working together.
Absolutely.
It's just my grain of salt. Like, this is my contribution to community, to the future. If there's anything I learned working with indigenous communities, is understanding that when they're somewhere, they bring 7 generations back, and they're thinking 7 generations forward. Like, that's who's in the room at all times, understanding that every step you take is building the bridge for the future, and has built that bridge you're standing on was built by other people before you. Yeah. So it's like, it's a duty. Waking up every day, I'm reminded it's a responsibility.
Okay. Man. So what do you say to the woman who has these thoughts that she want to help her people? To the woman who she has so much pride and she has so much information, but she don't know how to get it out?
Do it. Like, find your people, find your community. Like, there are folks around you that are just willing to support you. Even if it means just sitting down in your living room and talking about this. Like, there's been no more, like, important information that's been handed around than when me and the homies have been handing, like, just sitting drinking a beer at 3 a.m. in the morning, smoking a blunt.
Information is priceless. And it's more valuable than money. It can get you any amount of money, and it might even extend your life. Information is priceless.
Like, that's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of me and you having these conversations. They're afraid of us sitting down,
exchanging information.
Yes, and doing something about it.
Absolutely.
Writing it down, sharing it with people. That's what they're afraid of. And that's what's important. Like, we gotta figure out, however, whatever your lane is, like, get in that and own that shit and get people, like, moving. I'm here to support. Yeah, I'm here to support. Like, I have so many different communities that I'm involved with. So everything from mutual aid and solidarity work, which is like food shares to the homeless folks, food drives and things like that, all the way to political campaigns. If you want to work on any of the campaigns, elections are coming up. Just, you can hit me up on my Instagram at Mojada Inc. or on my website. Like, send me an email and I'll plug you in. Right now, one of the pressing issues we're having is the fight to free the Justice 8, which are 8 organizers that are protecting and defending street vendors in California. And now they've all been arrested at the same time under terrorism charges, which is bullshit. Yeah. Like, there was no terrorism involved. This was just the agent. Like, that's just what the state does.
What are their names? You said the terrorists.
They're the Justice 8.
The Justice 8.
The Justice 8.
Free the Justice 8. Let them out. All they were doing was trying to stand up for their people and get some money while they was doing it.
Period.
Free the Justice 8.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you want to give any shout outs?
Just to my love, first and foremost, my partner. Like, he supports me everywhere. It's hard. Like, it's hard when you got somebody that has a mouth like I do. So, he loves me. And just to my family, I love y'all so much. Like, I do this work for y'all. And to all my community, because they always support me.
Shout out to the streets.
Period.
Hey, well, I appreciate you for coming on the show. You done gave us so much valuable information. Tell the people where they can reach you one more time.
So you can hit me up on my Instagram at Mojada_Inc. It's up there too. You'll see my website is on my Instagram, my link tree. You can send me an email at yeseniamoyag@gmail.com. Let me know.
Hey, well, I appreciate you for coming on the show. I know the people appreciate all the knowledge and information you gave. If anybody like anything, learned anything, or want to reach you, they know where to get you. This Studios Talk is sponsored by Money Over Everything Clothing. MOE, you know, you see your husband wearing it. My boy Biggie, he stays supporting the movement. You know what I'm saying? So here go a little MOE drip for you. You know what I'm saying? If you can retreat, nutritional facts, dedication, hard work. You know what I'm saying? All stuff you gotta use. So that's just a little MOE drip for you. I appreciate you for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Give me a handshake. Thank you for all the information. And man, hopefully y'all learned something, man. Contact her if you're trying to get into any help. This has been Studio Talk. We out of here.
Thank y'all.